person who angers you controls you. It's a truth most people refuse to accept. But deep inside, you know it's real. Every time you allow someone's words, looks, or silence to disturb your peace, you've handed them the keys to your inner kingdom. And what if I told you that the true mark of strength isn't how fiercely you fight back, but how calmly you stay unmoved? That the secret to never being angry or upset lies not in changing others, but in mastering yourself. Welcome to Stoic Valor, where every word is designed to awaken your inner strength and remind you that the greatest power you'll ever wield is self-mastery. The ancient Stoics believed that the only thing we truly control is our own mind, our thoughts, our perceptions, our judgments. Everything else, from the weather to the behavior of others, belongs to the realm of what Epictetus called externals. And yet, most of humanity lives chained to the illusion that peace depends on external conditions. We tell ourselves, I'll be calm when they respect me. I'll be at peace when things go my way. But the Stoics knew that this way of thinking was a trap. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the dark secret, the uncomfortable truth most people ignore because it demands responsibility. To never be angry or upset, you must accept that no one truly makes you feel anything. You make yourself feel it through your interpretation of what happened. Let's look deeper. Anger at its core is a response to the clash between expectation and reality. Someone says something rude, and immediately your mind whispers, they shouldn't have said that. But that's not reality, that's a judgment. What was said was said. The rest is your story about it. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you cling to how things should be, you build the walls of your own prison." Modern psychology has rediscovered this ancient truth. Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective modern therapies, is rooted in Stoic philosophy. It teaches that our emotions come not from events themselves, but from the beliefs we attach to those events. It's not the insult that hurts, it's the meaning you give to it. They disrespected me, they don't value me, I'm being attacked. But what if those beliefs are optional? What if you could pause, observe the event, and choose a different story? Epictetus taught his students this through a simple exercise. When something happens, don't say, "This is bad," but instead, "This is indifferent." That single shift breaks the chain between the event and your suffering. The insult becomes air. The delay becomes time to reflect. The betrayal becomes a lesson. You begin to see that peace isn't found in the world behaving the way you want, but in your ability to remain undisturbed when it doesn't. To the Stoics, anger was not power, it was slavery. Seneca called it temporary madness. He believed that an angry person becomes a puppet, pulled by invisible strings of emotion and pride. And that's the dark irony of anger. It feels like strength, but it's actually loss of control. The calm person, the one who remains still amid provocation, is the true master of themselves. Think about it. When you're angry, do you act with reason or with reaction? Do you respond with clarity or with impulse? Every moment of rage is a moment of lost freedom. The Stoics wanted liberation from that. Liberation from the tyranny of emotions that rise and fall like the sea. Imagine someone insults you publicly. The normal mind flares with defense. How dare they? But the Stoic mind pauses. It asks, is this within my control? No. Does this define who I am? No, then why waste energy? The Stoic remains silent, not because he's weak, but because he refuses to be ruled. He knows that the moment he reacts, he gives his power away. Marcus Aurelius faced constant criticism, betrayal, and manipulation, even from his closest allies. Yet in his private journal he wrote, "When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside and see what sort of people they are. You will realize there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they hold any particular opinion about you. This isn't coldness, it's wisdom. The ability to see beyond emotion and understand that everyone acts from their own limited understanding. Their anger belongs to them, not to you. And this is the essence of Stoic mastery, emotional independence, the ability to remain steady, regardless of the storms around you. To understand that peace is not found in controlling others, but in controlling your inner response. You become like the mountain, unshaken by the wind, untouched by the storm. But let's go deeper still. The dark secret behind never getting angry lies in one more principle: humility. The Stoics taught that arrogance fuels emotional turmoil. We get angry because our pride is wounded, because we believe we deserve special treatment, because our ego whispers that the world should bend to our desires. When you lower your expectations, you rise in peace. Epictetus said, "When you kiss your child, say to yourself, 'One day they will die.'" To modern ears, that sounds harsh, even cruel, but his meaning was profound. When you remember the impermanence of all things, you stop demanding that life be comfortable or fair. You start seeing the beauty in what is. The man who accepts that life will test him is no longer surprised when it does. The woman who expects others to be flawed no longer feels betrayed when they are. Acceptance, then, becomes invincibility. To never be angry is not to be numb. It's to see reality with clear eyes. It's to live without illusions. Ryan Holiday writes, "The obstacle is the way." Every irritation, every insult, every setback, they're not enemies, they're training partners. Each one is a test of your discipline, a mirror that reflects your current level of mastery. When you choose calm over reaction, patience over pride, you grow stronger. You become untouchable. In today's world, anger has become the default language. Social media thrives on outrage. People argue not to understand, but to dominate. But in the Stoic sense, every argument is a loss. When you allow your peace to be disturbed by strangers online, by traffic, by delay, you are training your mind to be fragile. The Stoic trains in the opposite direction. They use every challenge as resistance, every insult as an opportunity to practice serenity. As James Clear might say, every time you stay calm when you could have exploded, you're casting a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Each small act of restraint builds your identity as someone who is free. Free from the pull of emotion, free from the chaos of reaction. The Stoic doesn't suppress emotion. They transform it. Anger becomes compassion for the ignorant. Frustration becomes patience with the imperfect. Pain becomes understanding of human nature. The truth is, you cannot stop people from being rude, unfair, or cruel, but you can stop their actions from reaching your soul. That's the real secret. Emotional invulnerability born from understanding, not avoidance. The Stoics didn't hide from the world. They lived fully in it, but with a different lens. They practiced what Marcus Aurelius called the discipline of perception. They trained themselves to see things as they are, no more, no less. So when someone offends you, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Because every time you react, you pay with your energy, your focus, your inner clarity, and no one deserves that price. Seneca said it beautifully. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. The Stoic path is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's the journey of becoming a person who can walk through fire without burning. That's the dark secret. Not that you suppress your emotions, but that you understand them so deeply they lose their power over you. You see the roots of anger, expectation, pride, illusion, and you cut them off before they grow. You realize that peace isn't something you chase. It's something you choose moment by moment, thought by thought, breath by breath. Anger is seductive. It feels righteous, powerful, almost cleansing, as if exploding will somehow restore balance. But as every Stoic master discovered, anger doesn't cleanse. It corrodes. It burns first the hand that holds it. The person who learns to master their anger doesn't just gain peace, they gain freedom. But philosophy without practice is like knowing the path and refusing to walk it. So let's walk it together. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a fortress. Every insult, every disappointment, every unexpected blow is a test of its walls. If those walls are weak, built from ego, fear, or entitlement, they crumble. But if they're built from wisdom and habit, they endure. So how do you build that fortress? How do you become someone who simply does not get angry or upset, no matter what others do? Let's start with the foundation, awareness. You cannot master what you do not notice. The first step toward emotional control is learning to observe your reactions before they take control of you. Epictetus taught his students to pause when provoked, to create a gap between stimulus and response. In that small space lies your freedom. When someone cuts you off in traffic or interrupts you mid-sentence, most people react instinctively. But the Stoic practices the art of the pause. They take one breath, maybe two, and in that brief silence, they remind themselves, this is outside my control. That single phrase can disarm even the sharpest anger. It reclaims your power from the external world and returns it to your mind. Here's a simple Stoic exercise. The moment of delay. When irritation arises before you respond, imagine Marcus Aurelius watching you. Imagine Epictetus, a man born a slave who suffered cruelty daily, standing beside you, observing your reaction. Ask yourself, would they see strength or weakness in me now? This visualization reconnects you with the greater path you've chosen, a life of mastery, not reactivity. Seneca recommended writing down moments of anger to analyze them later with reason. You can do this today. Keep a small journal, and whenever you lose your temper or feel upset, record the event. What triggered it? What story did your mind tell you? What part of your ego was hurt? When you review these notes, you'll start to see patterns, the illusions your mind creates. Over time, you'll begin to detach from them, realizing that most anger is not about others at all, but about your own expectations. Now, let's explore expectations, the hidden architects of emotional turmoil. You expect people to act kindly. You expect fairness. You expect the world to follow a moral logic. But the Stoics would ask why. Did you create the world? Did you design human nature? If not, then your expectations are fantasies. The wise person doesn't demand that life conform to them. They adapt themselves to life. Epictetus said, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. It's not weakness to forgive. It's strength to understand. Every person who wrongs you is acting from their own ignorance, pain, or conditioning. Their behavior is a mirror of their mind, not a reflection of your worth. Here's another practice, the mirror of understanding. When someone upsets you, pause and silently repeat, they are acting according to their own understanding. This doesn't justify their behavior. It liberates you from taking it personally. You begin to see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Compassion replaces contempt. Now imagine applying this at work, in relationships, or online. Someone insults you. Instead of reacting, you observe. You see their pain beneath the aggression, their insecurity beneath the noise. You remain calm, and your silence unsettles them because they expected a fight. You give none. That's the essence of Stoic strength, unshakable composure. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. As Emperor of Rome, he faced betrayal, flattery, manipulation, and endless criticism. Yet he reminded himself every morning, "Today I shall meet with meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, and unsocial men." He expected imperfection, and thus he was never surprised by it. This mindset shields you from disappointment. When you accept the flaws of others as part of nature, you stop being disturbed by them. Another Stoic habit is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of adversity. Each morning, visualize everything that could go wrong in your day, the delay, the argument, the failure. Then say to yourself, "None of these things can harm my peace unless I allow them to." This doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you prepared. When the expected happens, you meet it with calm, not shock. Let's make it practical. Suppose you're driving and someone cuts you off. Instead of shouting, you think, "I knew this could happen." You smile slightly, not with arrogance, but with awareness. You've already rehearsed this moment in your mind, and it no longer owns you. You've turned reaction into recognition. This mental training works like physical training. Every time you resist anger, your mind grows stronger. Every time you stay calm in chaos, you reinforce your discipline. Over time, serenity becomes your default state, not your effort. Like a seasoned warrior, you no longer flinch when struck because you've trained for the blow. But what about deeper anger, betrayal, injustice, cruelty? Here, Stoicism offers a higher challenge. When wronged, the ordinary person demands vengeance. The Stoic seeks understanding. They see that anger punishes the self more than the offender. Seneca said, "How much better it is to heal than to seek revenge." Forgiveness, then, becomes the ultimate form of power. Not because the other deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Now let's talk about routines and discipline. The Stoic life is built through small daily actions that strengthen your mind's immunity. Here are practices drawn from both ancient wisdom and modern science that you can begin today. Morning clarity ritual. Upon waking, before checking your phone or speaking to anyone, sit in silence for 3 minutes. Breathe deeply and remind yourself, nothing that happens today can disturb my peace unless I allow it. This sets a tone of control and intention for your day. Evening reflection. Before sleep, review your actions. Ask, where did I stay calm today? Where did I lose control? Don't judge yourself harshly. Simply observe, as Marcus Aurelius did in his journal. Each night becomes a lesson, each day a step toward mastery, the practice of detachment. Throughout the day, notice how often you say, "I need." Change it to "I prefer" instead of "I need people to respect me." Say, "I prefer respect, but I don't require it." This small linguistic shift weakens emotional dependence and strengthens your inner autonomy. The discipline of silence. When provoked, say nothing for 10 seconds. This short pause breaks emotional momentum. Often those seconds are enough for reason to regain command. The gratitude antidote: anger cannot coexist with gratitude. When upset, list 3 things you are grateful for in that moment, even small ones. Gratitude dissolves resentment by shifting focus from loss to abundance. Modern authors echo these Stoic principles. Ryan Holiday in The Daily Stoic reminds us that every external event is neutral until you assign it meaning. Robin Sharma teaches that emotional mastery is self-mastery, and that the person who controls their emotions controls their destiny. Mark Manson, in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fag, tells us to choose our battles wisely, a concept deeply aligned with Stoic detachment. James Clear shows that identity follows habit, that every calm response builds your identity as a serene person. Now imagine a life where anger simply doesn't arise in you. You're not suppressing it. It just doesn't find a place to grow. People speak rudely and you remain calm. Delays occur and you smile. The world behaves unpredictably and yet you are still. This is not fantasy. It's the natural outcome of disciplined practice. The Stoics proved that peace is not a gift, it's a skill. Before we continue to the final section, take a moment to reflect. How many times in your life have you lost peace over something you could not control? How many hours have been stolen by anger that changed nothing? The Stoic path doesn't promise a life without difficulty. It promises a mind unshaken by difficulty. If this message is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Valor, because here we don't just reflect, we transform. To master anger is to master perception. It's to stand in the fire and realize the fire cannot burn you. It's to face provocation and see only a lesson. The more you practice, the more automatic this becomes. When your peace no longer depends on others, you've achieved the highest form of freedom. But before this transformation becomes complete, one final truth remains: the heart of Stoic resilience, the quiet wisdom that turns every hardship into power. And that is where we journey next. There's a moment in every seeker's journey where the lesson shifts from knowledge to being. You've studied the Stoic principles, you've practiced awareness, you've tried to stay calm when the world tests you. But now you begin to become the lesson itself. True mastery is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It radiates through your calm presence. That's the hidden secret behind never being angry or upset. It's not something you do. It's something you are. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This is not a call to be harsh toward yourself, but to take full responsibility for your inner life. When someone provokes you, the untrained mind says, "They made me angry." The Stoic mind says, "I allowed myself to be disturbed." This is not self-blame, it's self-liberation. Because if the cause lies within you, so does the cure. You are not at the mercy of others. You are the gatekeeper of your own peace. Think of life as a vast ocean. Most people are small boats, tossed by every wave, every storm of emotion. But the Stoic is the lighthouse, unmoved, steadfast, shining regardless of what rages around it. You can become that lighthouse. You can be the calm in a world addicted to reaction. To reach that state, you must embrace what the Stoics called amor fati, the love of fate. Not just accepting what happens, but loving it. Imagine what it means to live that way. Every insult, every failure, every loss becomes fuel for growth. Nothing can defeat you because everything strengthens you. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "This is happening for me." Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Every difficulty you face is polishing your character, smoothing the edges of your ego, and revealing the brilliance beneath. When someone insults you, life is testing your patience. When things don't go your way, life is training your resilience." The Stoic doesn't curse the storm. They learn to sail through it. To never get angry is not about emotional suppression. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about caring wisely. It's about choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. The Stoic realizes that not every battle is worth fighting, and most are won by walking away with dignity intact. Strength isn't measured by how loudly you respond, but by how quietly you remain in control, and that control comes from clarity. The moment you see things as they are, not through the fog of expectation, peace arises naturally. The man who understands human nature doesn't take offense at human behavior. The woman who understands impermanence doesn't cling to outcomes. You stop fighting reality, and in doing so, you stop suffering. But the greatest realization is this: anger and peace cannot coexist in the same heart. You must choose one. Every time you choose peace, you weaken the habit of anger. Every calm response rewires your brain towards serenity. This is not just philosophy, it's neuroscience. Your brain adapts to whatever you practice most. Practice outrage, and you become easily triggered. Practice calm, and peace becomes your default. Let's reflect on an example. Imagine you're at work, and someone unfairly criticizes you in front of others. Your first impulse is to defend, to strike back. But then you remember the Stoic path. You breathe. You ask yourself, is this within my control? The answer, no. You ask, will this matter in 1 year? The answer, probably not. You ask, can I learn something from this? Maybe yes. You remain calm, respond with reason, and leave the room quietly. Later, your calmness becomes power. Others notice it, even envy it. That's real influence. That's Stoic leadership, because Stoicism isn't just about personal peace. It's about leading by example. Your calm presence can transform others. When you refuse to react, you break the cycle of chaos. When you forgive easily, you create space for healing. When you act with wisdom, you remind others of what strength truly is. You become the living embodiment of the Stoic ideal, the one who conquers themselves and therefore conquers all. Seneca once said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." In a world where everyone seeks to conquer others through words, through dominance, through anger, be the one who conquers within. Be the warrior who fights not with swords, but with silence, reason, and restraint. Your calmness becomes your armor, your wisdom, your weapon. Now let's talk about emotional transmutation, turning your emotions into something higher. When you feel anger rising, don't suppress it. Transform it. Let it become understanding. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me? Maybe it's revealing an attachment, a wound, or an expectation. Every emotion is a messenger. If you listen closely, even your anger can guide you to growth, Epictetus taught. What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about things. When you truly grasp this, the world changes. Insults lose their sting. Injustice loses its power to destroy your peace. Because you've realized nothing external can harm your soul unless you allow it. This understanding makes you untouchable, but mastery requires practice. The Stoic path is not a one-time realization, it's a lifelong training. You will fail sometimes. You'll get angry, you'll react. But each time you return faster to your center. You reflect, you adjust, you grow. That's progress. The Stoics never aimed to be perfect, only to be better each day. So when you stumble, don't condemn yourself. Instead, say, I see, I was weak there. Next time I will do better, and you will, because every act of awareness strengthens your inner armor. In moments of calm, remind yourself of this truth. You are the guardian of your mind. Others can throw words, insults, lies, but they cannot cross the gate unless you open it. No one can disturb your peace without your consent. The Stoic guards this gate with vigilance and love. Imagine living this way, walking through life untouchable, unbothered, radiant in stillness. Not because the world is easy, but because you've become harder to shake. People may misunderstand you. They may mistake your calm for indifference, but you'll know. It's not that you don't care. It's that you care correctly. You care about your character, your clarity, your peace. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That's your power, the ability to revoke suffering at will, simply by changing your perception. That's the dark secret. That's the freedom most never taste. And as you continue on this path, something remarkable happens. Life becomes lighter. You stop being tossed by emotions, and instead you float above them. You begin to see anger in others, not as something to match, but as something to understand. You respond not with reaction, but with compassion. Because when you truly see the ignorance behind another's anger, how can you be angry back? You begin to radiate calm, and that calm heals others. Your peace becomes a silent revolution in a noisy world. People feel safer around you. Conversations deepen, relationships grow stronger, and quietly, without realizing it, you become the kind of person the Stoics wrote about, the sage who walks through chaos untouched. So when anger calls, let it pass. When the world provokes, stay still. When others lose themselves, remain anchored. That's your duty, your strength, your legacy, because the real secret to never being angry or upset with anyone is love. Not the sentimental kind, but the unconditional acceptance of reality as it is. To love fate, to love imperfection, to love the opportunity each moment gives you to grow stronger. That is Stoic valor, and that is the calm no storm can steal. If this message helped you see with greater clarity, share it with someone who needs peace today. Subscribe to Stoic Valor, and let's continue walking together towards strength, wisdom, and unshakable serenity.